we talk about scope, and with this particular technology, there are no requirements for individual user license, which is, I think, one of the reasons why we went with that, because as the education training team leader developing some of the modules around emergency preparedness, I learned early on that if you went with some of these other course management systems, they're structured in a way that you have to have individual user license, and that can be very costly for agencies who don't have sustainable budgets, and you need to make sure that you can make this very easily accessible. So, and the other, in terms of the content that you create is yours. I mean, you can share it however you would like to. You can password protect it. You can repurpose it because of the flexibility in the content or the technology. You have the ability to integrate different pieces of it. So in terms of like a blended learning approach, you can repurpose content. It allows you to report on the number of viewers that have come in. So you have the ability to actually track some metrics that maybe you weren't able to do before in terms of how many people actually came in. When you're getting, if you send out a press release, or if you notify everybody in your agency through email, you don't always have a way to track who's actually benefited from that. Yes, question?
Can this integrate with the learning management system?
The question was, can it integrate with a learning management system? And yes, it can. It's pretty simple. It's through a launching of a URL. And that's the interfacing with the other IT platforms. As a distance learning coordinator, we pushed the envelope on this technology. I think we demonstrated applications beyond what Sonic Foundry was initially aware of. I brought in a learning management system that's being used in public health, and we integrated content with that. We took video conferencing sessions and plugged in the box, and those were recorded. And so then you had a digitized stream of that video conference that you could share or keep as a record for organizational learning. And then also for any of these others, it's a very universal technology that I think plugs in and is very flexible to most IT platforms. So, and then the scaling to the enterprise level. I just wanted to mention that when we brought it into our agency, we were partnering with our IT department as best we could at that time, and we were asked to pilot this for 6 months. Well, there was such a demand that within 3 months another unit bought it with some grant dollars. And now in that same agency, and this is in a matter of 3 years, they have 6 of these units. So the back-end software that sits on your server allows you to scale up and add units as you need to. And then the other aspect that made this so attractive was the no post-production. I work in a lot of high-ed environments where they're using different kinds of technologies to develop e-learning that have different purposes and accomplish different things. But the value of a technology like this is that you record, you stop, and your content's ready to share. I mean, you can go in, you could, polish it up, you can make it look prettier if you'd like, you can do some editing, but if the purpose and the value is to really get information out quickly, that's where the no post-production piece, I think, is, very valuable. So again, back to the question about does this interact? Yes, it does, and I think it allows you to increase the capacity of what you have maybe already in place, because it allows you to integrate with these other systems, a learning management system. If you have web-based applications that you need to do training on, I could, if I had an internet connection, open up those web-based applications, and you would see me go through, and I could demonstrate how you would navigate through a system, or how you would enter data into the fields, those types of things. So, and then also with other technologies, we have the ability to set up different recording rates so that, excuse me, if for example, you have a dial-up community still, or if you have a media audience that wants a high-quality video production, you can set your capture rates at different levels, or even for podcasting. So again, very flexible. I like this picture. Oh, thank you. This reminds me of my children here, because my 12-year-old said that he has a little more demanding schedule this year, and he was complaining because he wasn't going to be able to sleep during one of his classes. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because to know that every day, during this class, this is your nap time, that's really not, sort of our idea of how learning happens. But in this case, it allows you to support the just-in-time typo. There's a few typos in here. On-demand and self-paced learning. And I think when you have content that we're seeing this used to record lectures, but I think also if you can take opportunities to record subject matter experts, or some of the higher ed communities are using it to capture some of these millennial series where they have people coming in and talking about social issues that are of importance to the community, and to be able to have that information that people can go to when they have time, when it's convenient for them, and they can easily access it. They don't need to have special downloads, or if they have a PC and the internet connection, that's what they need. And then because once the content has been recorded, you can actually open up, and you can open to a particular slide in a presentation, and because it's all synced up, it takes you right there. So it makes it easier for people to get to the information that they need. Current state enterprise adoption. In Wisconsin, now our Department of Administration has taken over managing the server environment for 11 state agencies. I've listed them here. It's become operationalized. It's part of their business process. It's actually a verb that they use. They say that they're media citing things. It's used, here's some of the applications for workforce development, to coordinate and manage a lot of the multi-agency planning activities. We've seen the state agencies, but Health and Family Services was the lead agency for pandemic influenza planning. And the idea, I heard this from actually a medical coroner, that his biggest problem was the number of meetings he had to go to. So if you can eliminate some of those logistical headaches about bringing people together, which a technology like webcasting allows you to do, then I think you've solved a lot of your problems. Again, emergency planning and response, performance and accountability. When the state legislature or federal government asks you how you spent your dollars, you can actually go in and you have recorded documentation. You have the ability to report out on how many people have come in and participated. If you're integrating your content with a learning management system, you can generate data around participation and outcomes as well. So it's very useful in that way. And then managing public input and outreach. The second unit that Public Health purchased was for community listening sessions, and because they were now implementing their state health plan and they needed to get a lot of feedback, but they didn't have the resources or the time, to go around for a number of months to gather this. So they actually, use this to gather input and share that so that people could understand what the issues were and what the dialogue was, and they could participate online more easily. And then the community and member relations, again, with a lot of the governor-appointed or legislatively mandated advisory groups that you have. Usually these are high-level people. They have lots of competing priorities, and to be able to allow them a tool like webcasting to participate makes it a lot easier to get their input.